greetings, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am the Woodland Witch. And in today's video, we are doing a Q&A. I originally filmed this video last week and I don't really know what happened, but all of the footage was just in an error state. I couldn't fix it. It just had a big exclamation point that the footage was unusable. I couldn't figure out why, and it was unable to be restored. So that is why this video is coming to you this week. I asked across all social media platforms for your questions. I got quite a few responses, so I probably won't be able to get to all of them today, but I'm gonna do my best, and if we need to do a part 2, we'll do that. A few little updates. I just launched my Patreon this week. So if you are interested in being a part of that community, the link will be in the description. We had an update for Folkcraft and Flora Apothecary Shop, and our Vitality Tea Blend has officially joined the family. It is an energizing blend of ginger, tulsi, and peppermint. It is for helping improve cognitive function, stabilizing and naturally increasing energy level, and helping with concentration. All right, let's get into the questions. So the first question is from Shay Bay OMG, and they asked, what got you into witchcraft? Have you always been into it? I would say that I was always interested in witchcraft and occult practices and all things spooky and weird in general, but I never thought of it as a path for me. I was raised in a very religious home, and witchcraft was a big no-no. I think I had a lot of fear about this path, and that comes from just being raised in a certain way and the stigma that surrounds witchcraft. It was very demonized growing up, and so it took a long time for me to even be willing to learn about it and to understand it in a different way. When I had my first encounter with a real life witch, I was like, oh, this is a totally different thing than what I thought it was. So the more we talked, the more I resonated with everything that they were saying to me, and realized that I could combine this practice with my love of nature and plants and herbalism. It just took time for me to really understand what witchcraft means and what that kind of practice entails. And once I opened myself up to it and I kind of just started being true to who I was in myself and healing that religious trauma, my practice just flourished and doors opened left and right, and everything just fit together. It's a path that's really helped me grow, and I love it so much, and I will never look back. Okay, the next question comes from RG Win 1982, and they asked, how long does it typically take to see an intention begin to manifest? So this is going to vary. For me personally, there's things that I see manifest in hours, sometimes even quicker, and other things take a little bit more effort and a little bit more work, and they take days or months. I think it really depends on what the intention itself is. For instance, I was manifesting a move, and my husband did not want to move ever from the house that we were living in. There was a lot of work that had to be put into it, a lot of things that had to shift in our life regarding his job and where he was working at the time. So I see some of those things as like a trickle effect, and that all these other pieces need to fit together before something specific can maybe manifest. There's certain spell workings that I do that I can sense very quickly. A few of the indicators that let me know a spell is working for me personally is I get really tired and really hungry, and it feels like my energy has just been wiped out. Even if I don't necessarily see a result from that, I know that energetically something is moving forward. So yeah, it really just depends. I definitely believe with manifesting there has to be some kind of effort and work put into it. It's not just throwing things together and calling it a day. There's definitely got to be effort, work behind it, belief behind it. But yeah, it really just depends. Our next question comes from the Sunflower Daisy. What exactly does it mean to be a witch? When can you start calling yourself one? Right now. In history, the term witch has a very negative connotation. The stigma surrounding the term witch and witchcraft is always seen as something bad. So in a more modern time, I feel like the way that this word has been reclaimed is very personal to the witch and their practice. For me, being a witch is connecting with nature, connecting with my ancestors. It's crafting magic for a specific purpose, living with intention, honoring the spirits, honoring the land. Being a witch to me is standing in my power, using that power to put forth energy and manipulate energy. So it may vary from person to person what being a witch really means. So get in touch with yourself. What does it mean to you? There's no task list that you have to complete before becoming a witch. So if you would like to label yourself one, then you are a witch. This next question is from my lovely friend Heather, the Wild Woodland Witch. We actually have a collaboration video coming out on August 1st for Lunasa. It is going to be all about flower magic and I'm so excited. But Heather asked, what do you do for house protection? Break it down seasonally. Ooh, I like this one. I love incorporating the seasonal changes into my practice. Some of my protections stay the same all year, but there are things I like to incorporate around certain times of the year for sure. Autumn, Samhain, it's my favorite time of year. I cover my porch in pumpkins. Pumpkins are protective. Jack-o'-lanterns would help ward off negative entities and evil spirits. That is the time cinnamon brooms are also coming out. I have besoms hanging in my home all year round, but I do like to refresh them every year. So that is also something I like to do around autumn. In the wintertime, I like to do a lot of spell work using snow. Snow is one of my favorite items for cleansing and banishing. So I use a lot of snow and snow water when it comes to protection and banishing magic around that time of year. The trees are also barren at this time. I like to collect any kind of sticks or twigs that I find. And I usually craft wards out of those as well. Even though I do simmer pots literally all the time, I would say around Yule is my favorite time to do them. Cinnamon cloves, some of my favorite ingredients for protection, go into my simmer pots around that time. Fills the whole space, it just feels comfortable, it feels cozy. If it isn't already clear, I love simmer pots. Spring and summer are pretty similar when it comes to what I'm doing for protection magic around those times. Everything is coming back to life, so I always like to bring fresh flora into the house. I use the app Picture This, and it helps me identify plants in my local area. It provides the symbolism and spiritual meaning for different plants. So around this time, I let the plants grow naturally around my porch. Around my porch, there are many protective plants. I just like to spend time with them and ask for their protection and let them do their thing. My landlord did weed whack them the other day and that was absolutely heartbreaking. Every week I will also craft a special bouquet in the home. Sometimes it's for protection magic. I'll use roses sometimes that have thorns for defense and protection, but I like to use the bouquets really for any kind of intention that I'm trying to set. Love having a wreath on the door, and it's really easy to shove little intention papers into with names and sigils. That was a fun question. I really like that one. Flourish and Healing asks, what got you into herbalism? My parents were always into alternative medicine, my mom especially. Growing up, it was always a natural remedy. And while I do believe that there is a time and a place for modern healthcare, growing up it wasn't always seen that way. But my family had great experiences with herbal remedies. After I was grown up and on my own, it was always something that was in the back of my mind. A couple of years ago, I really dove into my studies and started really learning as much as I possibly could, mainly because I was failed by the allopathic healthcare system. I didn't feel like I was getting the right treatment for specific things that I had going on at the time. And that's when I turned to herbalism and herbal remedies to kind of help with those things. I've had great success with that. And like I said, that doesn't mean I stopped going to the doctor. I've found a way to blend and mesh the two. Honestly, it's changed my life for the better. And since then, it's become something that I'm really passionate about, something I'm obsessed with learning about, and something I love sharing with all of you. Next question is from the Blue Oak Witch. What are some widely known folk practices that are similar in different regions? So the one thing that is coming to my mind right now, and I don't know why this is the one specific thing, is the concept of the evil eye. You'll see a lot of similarities in folk practices from region to region, mainly because folk practices were things that people were dealing with in everyday life. There were a lot of cultures dealing with the same things. So for instance, speaking of the evil eye, in Greece you have the Mati, in Scotland you have the Drogshuil, and these are all beliefs surrounding the evil eye. The evil eye is a curse that was thought to be cast by just an envious glance, by jealousy, even blessing somebody. There's stories and folklore surrounding the evil eye in so many cultures. If somebody fell suddenly ill, or milk production in cattle was getting slow, if wells were drying up, it was thought to be the work of the evil eye. And every culture seems to have their own variation and way to combat the evil eye. I've spoke about it before. In Scotland, they will take a thread to it They would tie red thread to the afflicted area or the location. They thought that it would absorb the curse, and when they felt that it had absorbed it completely, they would cut it up into pieces and bury it. So as I said, you'll see a lot of similarities in things culture to culture, just because it's things that they were doing to help and alleviate common things that were going on within a community. And while it may be called something different or combated differently, this concept of the evil eye is something I've seen across many cultures. This next question comes from Cassie Potter. Finding my path as a hedge witch. Any book suggestions? The House Switch by Erin Murphy Hiscock. I absolutely love that book. I always see the label of hedge witch as a little bit of an umbrella term. There's a lot of different categories of witchcraft that fall under the path of a hedge witch. Green witchcraft, kitchen witchcraft, forest witchery. These all kind of fit into what a hedge witch is. So studying anything and everything surrounding those topics is really great. Another really great book is Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, The Green Witch by Erin Murphy Hiscock. One of my most recent reads, The Kitchen Witch. Those are all really great topics and books to start out with. Okay, last question comes from Safi's mama. Where to start when I want to really embrace my witchiness? Okay, so you really just start. You just start. Anything and everything that you want to learn about, go for it. I do have a video of things I wish I knew when I started practicing witchcraft. I would highly recommend watching that. There are many other creators who have done a video like that as well. Check them out. There's things that'll help you in that video for just starting out, and maybe some lessons that you won't have to learn because we did it for you. But I would really just sit with yourself and ask yourself why. Why is this a path I want to follow? What resonates with me? Is there a specific type of witchy journey that I'm trying to have, whether it's green witchcraft, kitchen witchcraft, eclectic witchcraft? There's so many different paths that you can take. And with that being said, you don't have to choose one, and you don't have to choose it right away. Focus on specific topics, don't overwhelm yourself. The big thing is being authentic and true to yourself. Just because you see somebody doing something on the internet doesn't mean that it's going to resonate with you, doesn't mean that it fits your path or maybe even your beliefs. So be authentic, listen to what your body's saying, what your mind and your heart are telling you. The path of the witch is very personal. You're crafting your own personal journey. So embrace it. Do what feels right to you and look into the things that make you feel good in your belief system. And just allow yourself to be really connected with you. All right, everyone, that is our Q&A video. I hope you all enjoyed it. There was 1.5 million questions, so there may be a part 2 to this video, but it was really fun to have y'all pick my brain a little bit. There was more variety in this Q&A than I've ever done, so thank you all for your input. As I said before, my collaboration is coming out next week with the Wild Woodland Witch, all about flower magic, so be sure to stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one.